Okay, how is everyone doing today? It is Wednesday and we got some interesting market movements. This morning we saw the market sell off pretty drastically. How's everyone doing today? And in that move, we saw BigBear.AI dip down pretty significantly. We ended up buying the dip at market open on BigBear.AI, but we bought the 2x of Big Bear. So first things first, when we were watching market open this morning, we were immediately watching for the potential recovery after the dip. So a lot of times, like you could see, for example, here on the 8th, you had a really big dip and then a recovery. And then at market open yesterday, there was a really big dip here down to 1325 and then it recovered about 16% throughout the rest of the day. This is a lot of times what happens when Big Bear AI is in a bullish market is it will dip down super fast at market open and then it will recover throughout the rest of the day. Now, there's other things impacting the market this morning. It wasn't just defense companies that did that. Every stock did that. You still have like uncertainties around the AI bubble. People say that AI, is it Google that's going to dominate? Is it Microsoft? Is it OpenAI? What's going on with all the transactions that are happening between all the companies? But ultimately, in my eyes, when we look at those, we're looking at classic value exchange between the companies and that they're basically providing to each other. And so anyway, we just bought into this dip on Big Bear AI because ultimately it seemed like market direction was seeing a dip at market open, then a recovery. So right at market open, the market opened right here. We were there in our daily live trading session in Stockmate. If you ever want to tune on in, it's the second link below. And we were watching as Big Bear AI sold off and it sold down to about $6.48, somewhere in there. We waited, and then we went over to BAIG, and then we bought in on BAIG this morning at $13.97. It was up here around $14.10, and then we said, this is something that's really important. People make this mistake all the time when they are, let's say you're investing in Big Bear AI, or you're investing in AMD or Nvidia or Google or any stock, and you go over to the 2x of the company, realize that a lot of times there's going to be more of a spread. Either there's less volume or the bid and the ask are going to have pretty large spread between the two. And so when you buy an order or sell an order on a 2x of a stock, I always recommend that you do a limit order rather than just a market buy, because if we would have done a market buy, we would have had an entry around 14.20 this morning or 14.15 when we were tuned in. And I knew that, if the actual bid, what people were bidding, was actually around like 13.88. And so I was like, okay, well, let's just, let's meet somewhere in the middle. And so we got in at 13.95, 13.97 with a limit buy order. And then we've seen since then, BAIG has rallied. So I think we invested is about 250 shares. Looks like we got in with just somewhere around 3,000. Is that correct? Let me double check. Pretty small position. $3,400, and we're able to catch a nice 10% swing here at market open on BAIG. We set our stop loss. You can see actually the trade. I'll mark it out for you guys so you can see how we kind of approach this. But ultimately what we did is you have this, here was the entry level, okay, right here, entry level, and we're now at the take profit. So, again, we may lock it in or just move the stop loss up. And then you had the stop loss that we set was down here, okay. This was the stop loss, all right. And then the green take profit, okay, is right up here into this zone that we were able to catch here on Big Bear AI. And so again, we entered right here. We set our stop loss just a little bit further down, about 2% or less than that, about 2%. And then I guess a little bit more than 1%, but in between there. And then we ended up setting the stop. We let it ride. We caught a perfect dip buy this morning at market open. And so now it's up about $341 on a $3,400 investment. So again, smaller position size because these usually have, higher risk on the 2x. But what we're going to do, as you can see, I can move my stop loss up here, move my stop loss up here into these ranges. So it looks like currently, the BigBear.AI rally, there's a few things fueling it. They had better earnings. They came in with way more cash recently. But also, they acquired an AI company called Ask Sage, which gave them some momentum. Now, let's see, Biggie, what's going on? RGTX, you're looking at that company. Thanks so much for tuning in. Peppy says, are we seeing any dip below $6 anytime soon? It's possible. It is possible. The Prophecy app I was using this morning had a fairly bullish sentiment over the next few days. So that's why we ended up buying Big Bear this morning. In fact, let's see what it was saying this morning. Kind of search it up. BigBear.AI had a bullish sentiment on the next month here up to $7. And then some of the shorter term time frames were slightly bearish as they happened to be at market open, and then recoveries throughout the next day or so. And so we kind of played into that this morning, and now we can move our stop loss up. But again, could you see it drop below $5, BigBear.AI? It's possible, of course. The shorter term trades we were talking about yesterday, when we saw them bounce down here, this is something we were just in a live session last night. I know some of you guys were there, as I see here. Thanks so much for tuning in again. The resistance level at $6.50 has been notoriously a strong level of support as well for BigBear.AI. So when they pulled down this morning to that 650 price point and dipped here at market open, we saw that as a buy opportunity. So again, 650, they pulled down here, and that was right at market open. We bought the 2x, and now you can see they've jumped up to 687, now targeting this range. We were actually looking for a potential recovery actually up into this level of around $8 a share. Now, so far, we're still far away from that, just approaching the $7 resistance currently. But yeah, so that was kind of the thought process behind the trade this morning. Again, we haven't made any short-term trades that often, except when we see that really key level, and we've been trading it. We actually traded it back here as well in October when it made a similar bounce at 650 here, and then it started to run back up to 950 with some volatility, don't get me wrong, but nevertheless, we're in it. And so that's kind of what's going on there. BAIG here. So let's see, BT Baker, BAIG is going to $30 in your opinion. Oh, interesting, man. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It is possible, of course, always. David, Will, thanks for the BIG heads up. Watched it and got in at 1377 this morning. Small order of 100 shares. Nice. Yeah, of course, David. I'm glad you're able to make the live session. So David's one of our investors in Stockmates. He was there this morning. So as I've been talking here, we kind of let it pull back a little bit. As you can see, it's pulled back just a tad bit. Now it's still holding above this EMA here, kind of. And so we may see it bounce this $15 price point at BAIG. I think that's 675 over on BBAI. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move my stop loss up, lock in at least $250 for the day. Let's do that. So current ask, let me get this right. Hold on. People are currently asking for, let me see what's going on. Current bid 1507. So if I set it at 1507, that's going to get executed right away. I'm not really looking to do that. I'm going to move my stop up here to around 14. Let's see, really breaks pattern, probably sell below about 15. Probably as low as 1% margin would mean potential 2% sell down, which would be from 1508 to, what would that be, 1485? Yeah, I'd actually like to lock in a little bit more. We're gonna go 1490, stop, replace, stop, market, order, 1490. There we go. Okay, so we just moved our stop loss up, locked in profits for the day. So that's cool to see. And then when it comes to David, okay, so you got in at 377 this morning, David, or 1377. Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, you're up. What are you up? Let's do some quick math here. I'm curious. I'm gonna percent watch you. 1377. Current price is 1407. What's the current price? Oh, 1509 is what it is. 1509. So 1509, 15. All right, David. Okay, $132 profit tuning into the live session this morning. I see you. Let's go, man. I love to see it. Yeah, so again, this is actually a beautiful one. So I think we, again, had about 250 shares. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. BigBear.AI, some of the information that we had on it this morning, we were looking at the projections from Prophecy. It's fairly bullish, but it was interesting because it was saying it was going to pull down here in the next 4 hours, but some things shift really quickly on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, and now it's projecting back up into that $7 range currently, but potentially breaking down to 650 again over the next week, but then looking bullish up into that 760 to further up above $8 a share in the longer term timeframes for BigBear.AI, according to Grok, when we're using the Prophecy app. But when I'm looking at the plan, it was funny because when we got in this morning, 250 shares, and we're going for 10% margin for profit, our stop 1349 recommended. We actually set our stop not at 1349. We set our stop at 1377. So we only risked 0.5% to make 10%. So that's pretty cool. So we're really close to executing the order. As you can see, Big Bear selling down. It's possible, again, that $6.75. I might actually even need to move this down like 2 cents. 1 second. There we go. Because 675 is the next level of support for Big Bear. We want to see if it's going to hold. And we got to stop to lock in profits there on Big Bear. So along with the longer term positions we have in Big Bear, I know a lot of you guys were able to capitalize on that. And, all of you guys have such good ideas, such good stocks. There's so many good companies you've been recommending and that you've been sharing with me. And some of the great ideas that you come out with, a lot of you guys, some of them, they just take patience, and you might come out and you might be even discouraged as every stock faces adversity and valuations don't seem to line up. But then in patience and bringing your values to the market oftentimes rewards those values with value in return, whether it's patience, persistence, whether it's diligence, careful planning, what have you. So glad to see that everybody's doing good. Rocket Lab doing well, continuing to do work up into that $56 price point today. They're up 6%. Black Sky was rocketing at one point over 5%. They're up to $19 a share. We love to see it. As Redwire still recovered after a dip this morning. Redwire recovered from a 5% sell down this morning at market open. They're back to $7.25. So that's really just it. I want to give you guys a quick update on that trade that we got going in BigBear.AI. Some of the key factors we were watching was, again, in the bull market, when you see some of those dips right at market open, I don't have any scientific studies or backed, I guess, Excel sheets that I've kept, and that's a shame because I'd actually love to test this. But in my experience, the dips that happen at market open, when they're followed by the session open, you see the market sell off, and in my experience, there's been so many instances that we've had success in those kind of shorter term trades when we've just waited and waited at market open for like 10, 15 minutes. And I joke about this because the whole year this year, I was like, man, if I just would have started our live session 15 minutes earlier, then our entries would have been better, because it was almost like clockwork how consistent the market sells off at market open, and then dips, and then after 15 minutes or so starts to recover. And I don't have any hard studies on this, and I'm not a day trader. I mean, sometimes we day trade, but I'm more of, an investor. But nevertheless, when we've had a lot of success in the shorter term trades, almost always it's come down to doing the reverse. If I told you that there was something that was a cure, okay, let's say that you had something that was making it hard for you to be able to profitably trade and profitably invest. And that's what I help people do, right? Let's say you're struggling with that and you just can't figure it out. And sometimes you make money, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get bad entries, bad exits, and it keeps your portfolio kind of stuck. And you have this thing you're trying to work through. And there was something that you could do to help that and cure that. Would it be just ridiculous not to apply the thing that would help you do it, to help you to cure your problem, right? And so the number one thing that I've found, and this is the answer, you want to hear what it is, it's doing the reverse of what most people do. Most people get excited when the market is so green at market open, and then they end up buying the green surge, or the stocks are up even in the longer term time frames, and they get so excited and they see all the green and they buy, and then they end up losing because it was kind of a hype euphoria moment, and then the markets come back down, and then it takes a long time to recover back to where it was. And so if you do the reverse, and this is literally the cure, this is the thing that will help you so much, I believe. It's been the number one thing, and I can confidently tell you this works, is doing the reverse of what you're psychologically being cued to do, which is to, again, rather than buying the green, get more interested and curious when things turn red. And so that's been just a tremendous change for my ability to grow. And this is the thing, when you're investing and you're looking for the thing that is going to make you money, and you're looking at the shiny green that approaches in the market, it can work, but it will run out of shiny green. And rather than focusing on the shiny green, it can work. You will make some money, but it's going to be harder to maintain. You'll end up running out of the green if you're always chasing the green. And so rather than the shiny green, to focus on growth will get you further along in your journey. And how do you focus on the growth? The growth means going through the process of the steps, of looking for example, the red, and looking for the sell-offs to kick in, and not going after the green for the short term, but looking at the red and finding the opportunities, looking at the financials, looking at the news, getting an idea of the market caps and where they should be to where they are now, where the AI markets or general markets are going. And if you do the opposite, kind of the reverse of what psychologically you're kind of prone to do, which is chase the green, you'll have longer term sustained growth a lot of times. Like, I can tell you it works. It really works. So that's what I would say. If you're looking at red and you're like, "Argh!" Like, how funny is it to picture somebody looking at red on their screen and they're sitting there and they just get more angry and more emotionally charged the more red that they see on their portfolio or on the red in the markets or what have you. Like, this is actually a real thing, right? They get more emotionally charged. It's like the person that's sitting at the stoplight. I'm looking at some stoplight, some cars driving through here in Puerto Madero where we're visiting, and people sit there at the red light and they get upset and they're revving their engine and they're like, "Come on, go red lights." The red light doesn't care. The red light's not going to change because you rev your engine. The market's not going to change because you get emotional about the red. It's not going to do anything. The best approach is to picture that the red light is a nice, beautiful, illuminated text of your name. Imagine when you look at the red in the morning, you see red in the markets, that red is a nice illuminated text of your name, and you look at it and you say, "Wow, isn't that beautiful?" This is how I have to share with you, because it's really important we talk about this, that there's so much negative connotation when people see red in the markets. And I'm telling you that one of the things that helps so much is looking at the red positively. Like, look at the red positively and look at it in the sense of, this is an opportunity for me to potentially enter. This is the market saying, "Hey, David," or "Hey, Big E or Peppy, "Hey, Baker," and saying, "Here you go. Here's the red. Here's your entry opportunity." And so that's kind of what I want to share with you guys today. Hopefully that's helpful. Again, we're in this BigBear.AI trade. We'll be watching it. See if it holds above that 675 on BigBear.AI. You can see it's holding it right now at 675 support, with next target at $7 a share. We'll see if it holds. Glad we were able to make about a 10% trade there this morning, and we got our stop set, locked in profits if it decides to sell off anymore. Appreciate you all. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you guys ever would like to tune on into this to the Stockmate daily live trading that we did this morning, that's how we made this trade. We waited for the sell down at market open. We ended up buying BigBear.AI. If you ever want to tune on in, it's going to be the second link in the description down below. And you also get a free t-shirt when you join. Would love to see you there at market open. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.